Here's our reading session of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, #1 New York Times bestseller. This subheading is called The Dangers of Pure Certainty. So let's just start with it, and okay, very good. Erin sits across from me at the sushi restaurant and tries to explain why she doesn't believe in death. It's been almost 3 hours, and she's eaten exactly 4 cucumber rolls and drunk an entire bottle of sake by herself. In fact, she's about halfway through bottle number 2 now. It's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. I didn't invite her here. She found out where I was via the internet and flew out to come find me. Again, she's done this before. You see, Erin is convinced that she can cure death, but she's also convinced that she needs my help to do it. But not my help in like a business sense. If she just needed some PR advice or something, that would be one thing. No, it's more than that. She needs me to be her boyfriend. Why? After 3 hours of questioning and a bottle and a half of sake, it still isn't clear. My fiancé was with us in the restaurant, by the way. Erin thought it important that she be included in the discussion. Erin wanted her to know that she was willing to share me and that my girlfriend, now wife, shouldn't feel threatened by her. I met Erin at a self-help seminar in 2008. She seemed like a nice enough person, a little bit on the woo-woo, new agey side of things, but she was a lawyer and had gone to an Ivy League school and was clearly smart. And she laughed at my jokes and thought I was cute, so of course, knowing me, I slept with her. A month later, she invited me to uproot across from the country and move in with her. This struck me as somewhat of a red flag, and so I tried to break things off with her. She responded by saying that she would kill herself if I refused to be with her. Okay, so make that 2 red flags. I promptly blocked her from my email and all my devices. This would slow her down but not stop her. Years before I met her, Erin had gotten into a car accident and nearly died. Actually, she had medically died for a few moments. All brain activity had stopped, but she had somehow miraculously been revived. When she came back, she claimed everything had changed. Yeah, when I do this sign, it means that the text or the phrase is in brackets, yeah, in the book. Thank you for 1 like, 8 other people who are watching. It's now 13. Please follow that one person who liked the content and do the same. Okay, likes and comments are helpful. Shares are also welcome. Yeah, when she came back, she claimed everything had changed. She became a very spiritual person. She became interested in and started believing in energy healing and angels and universal consciousness and tarot cards. She also believed that she had become a healer and an empath and that she could see the future. And for whatever reason, upon meeting me, she decided that she and I were destined to save the world together, to cure death, as she put it. Okay. After I'd blocked her, she began to create new email addresses, sometimes sending me as many as a dozen angry emails in a single day. She created fake Facebook and Twitter accounts that she used to harass me as well as people close to me. Wow. She created a website identical to mine and wrote dozens of articles claiming that I was her ex-boyfriend and that I had lied to her and cheated her, that I had promised to marry her, and that she and I belonged together. When I contacted her to take the site down, she said that she would take it down only if I flew to California to be with her. This was her idea of a compromise. Hi, Elvira. Well, subscribe to my page to discover who am I. I'm a private tutor. I teach English, French, chess, philosophy. And now I'm reading this book for my followers, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. So if you're interested, subscribe. What's up? All good, Bentley. Sup with you? Uh, yeah, that's funny. Okay, California. All right, where are we? And through all of this, her justification was the same. I was destined to be with her, that God had preordained it, that she literally woke up in the middle of the night to the voices of angels commanding that our special relationship was to be the harbinger of a new age of permanent peace on earth. Yes, she really told me this. Okay. Do you know Mbappe? Is that a football player? By the time we were sitting in that sushi restaurant together, there had been thousands of emails. Whether I responded or didn't respond, replied respectfully or replied angrily, nothing ever changed. Her mind never changed. Her beliefs never budged. This had gone on for over 7 years by then, and counting. Oh, wow. And so it was in that email sushi restaurant, in that small sushi restaurant, with Erin guzzling sake and babbling for hours about how she'd cured her cat's kidney stones with energy tapping, that something occurred to me. Erin is a self improvement junkie. She spends tens of thousands of dollars on books and seminars and courses. And the craziest part of all this is that Erin embodies all the lessons she's learned to a T. She has her dream. She stays persistent with it. She visualizes and takes action and weathers the rejections and failures and gets up and tries again. She's relentlessly positive. She thinks pretty damn highly of herself. I mean, she claims to heal cats the same way Jesus healed Lazarus. Come the fuck on. And yet her values are so fucked that none of this matters. The fact that she does everything right doesn't make her right. Mm. There's a certainty in her that refuses to relinquish itself. She has even told me this in so many words that she knows her fixation is completely irrational and unhealthy and is making both her and me unhappy. But for some reason, it feels so right to her that she can't ignore it and she can't stop. Okay, 16 people watching. Likes are welcome. If you enjoy me reading this book for you, send me likes and comments. And you can buy paid subscription on my channel, with which you will get a course entitled Introduction to Practical Philosophy, okay, for my subscribers. All right, let's continue. In the mid 90s, psychologist Roy Baumeister began researching the concept of evil. Basically, he looked at people who do bad things and at why they do them. Wow, interesting. Roy Baumeister. Okay. At the time, it was assumed that people did bad things because they felt horrible about themselves. That is, they had low self esteem. One of Baumeister's first surprising findings was that this was often not true. In fact, it was usually the opposite. Some of the worst criminals felt pretty damned good about themselves. And it was this feeling good about themselves in spite of the reality around them that gave them the sense of justification for hurting and disrespecting others. For individuals to feel justified in doing horrible things to other people, they must feel an unwavering certainty in their own righteousness, in their own beliefs and deservedness. Racists do racist things because they're certain about their genetic superiority. Religious fanatics blow themselves up and murder dozens of people because they are certain of their place in heaven as martyrs. Yep. Men rape and abuse women out of their certainty that they are entitled to women's bodies. Mm. Evil people never believe that they are evil. Rather, they believe that everyone else is evil. Yep. In controversial experiments, now simply known as the Milgram experiments, named for the psychologist Stanley Milgram, researchers told normal people that they were to punish other volunteers for breaking various rules. And punish them they did, sometimes escalating the punishment to the point of physical abuse. Almost none of the punishers objected or asked for explanation. On the contrary, many of them seemed to relish the certainty of the moral righteousness bestowed upon them by the experiments. The problem here is that not only is certainty unattainable, but the pursuit of certainty often breeds more and worse insecurity. Many people have an unshakable certainty in their ability at their job or in the amount of salary they should be making. But that certainty makes them feel worse, not better. They see others getting promoted over them and they feel slighted. They feel unappreciated and under acknowledged. Even a behavior as simple as sneaking a peek at your boyfriend's text messages or asking a friend what people are saying about you is driven by insecurity and that aching desire to be certain. You can check your boyfriend's text messages and find nothing, but that's rarely the end of it. Then you may start wondering if he has a second phone. You can feel slighted and stepped over at work to explain why you missed out on a promotion. But then that causes you to distrust your coworkers and second guess everything they say to you and how you think they feel about you, which in turn makes you even less likely to get promoted. You can keep pursuing that special someone you're supposed to be with, but with each rebuffed advance and each lonely night, you only begin to question more and more what you're doing wrong. And it's in these moments of insecurity, of deep despair, that we become susceptible to an insidious entitlement, believing that we deserve to cheat a little to get our way, that other people deserve to be punished, that we deserve to take what we want, and sometimes violently. Mm. It's the backwards law again. The more you try to be certain about something, the more uncertain and insecure you will feel. Wow. But the converse is true as well. The more you embrace being uncertain and not knowing, the more comfortable you will feel in knowing what you don't know. Again, guys, I remind that likes are most welcome. Uncertainty removes our judgment of others. It preempts the unnecessary stereotyping and biases that we otherwise feel when we see somebody on TV, in the office, or on the street. Uncertainty also relieves us of our judgment of ourselves. We don't know if we're lovable or not. We don't know how attractive we are. We don't know how successful we could potentially become. The only way to achieve these things is to remain uncertain of them and be open to finding them out through experience. Uncertainty is the root of all progress and all growth. Yeah, this actually reminds me of a quote by a Jewish president. It was approximately something like this. The Jews are the most unhappy and unsatisfied people on the planet, and that's why we make so much progress, because we are never satisfied with what is. We always seek to improve things. And of course, you have a lot of Jewish laureate prize winners, a lot of innovation in science, healthcare, technology, We know of Saudi Arabia and Dubai and stuff, but before that, way before that, it were the Jews who drained swamps and made cities. Like Tel Aviv is built on a swamp, and thousands of people lost their lives when they were draining those poisonous swamps. And also, the Jews were the first to create. What are those places called when you grow food in special areas? They were the first to turn deserts into gardens, in Israel in 40s, 50s, and 60s, way before, the Emirates and the other states started copying them, actually. So, yeah. Uncertainty is the root of all progress and all growth. As the old adage goes, the man who believes he knows everything learns nothing. Yeah, it's good. I'll read it again. The man who believes he knows everything learns nothing. We cannot learn anything without first not knowing something. The more we admit we do not know, the more opportunities we gain to learn. And I love this quote as a teacher. Actually, I have one of my favorite sayings. A teacher ceases to be a teacher the day he or she stops learning. You know, so it's the same idea. Our values are imperfect and incomplete, and to assume that they are imperfect and complete, they are perfect and complete, is to put us in a dangerously dogmatic mindset that breeds entitlement and avoids responsibility. Yeah. The only way to solve our problems is to first admit that our actions and beliefs up to this point have been wrong and are not working. I like this idea a lot, and again, it makes me think of the philosophy of objectivism. I call myself an objectivist, yeah? I love that philosophy a lot, and there is this kind of mantra or this axiom in that philosophy. That philosophy is very scientific. Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged, she created the philosophy of objectivism. And I think I will start reading Atlas Shrugged or The Fountainhead, some of her best selling novels after I'm done with this book. So, in the philosophy of objectivism, there is an interesting principle which says the only absolute is reason, meaning nothing else is absolute, only reason. So you can have values like in the philosophy of objectivism there are values, yeah, values, virtues, a productive work, life, and not just life as an abstract concept. Your life, yeah, that's important. That's a value. So reason, life, productive work. However, there are situations where you have to take somebody's life. Suppose you're a Ukrainian soldier defending your country. Of course, you need to kill the Russian invaders, yeah? Or maybe, you could take any value, work, yeah, productive work, that's important. But maybe sometimes you have to you have to abstain from work because you are ill or you cannot do something productive in a given context or situation. So reason is the only absolute, means you always have to think, calculate, and make up your own mind based on your circumstances and situation. That's why I like it so much. The philosophy of objectivism, I mean. This openness to being wrong must exist for any real change or growth to take place. Before we can look at our values and prioritizations and change them into better, healthier ones, we must first become uncertain of our current values. We must intellectually strip them away See their faults and biases. See how they don't fit in with much of the rest of the world. To stare our own ignorance in the face and concede, because our own ignorance is greater than us all. Nice, that's the end of that subheading. And here we have an interesting thing called Manson's Law of Avoidance. So Manson is the name of the author. So he has this law. Okay, I think I'll read this one too. For you, oh, thank you to the second person who sent me a like. I appreciate that a lot. Um, 10 people who are watching this, I invite y'all to do the same and send me likes. If you're watching me, if you're listening to this live, if you find value in this bestseller, yeah, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, then show your appreciation, yeah? Let's make this a win-win so that you win and also I win, yeah? Chances are you've heard some form of Parkinson's law. Work expands so as to fill up the time available for its completion. You've also undoubtedly heard of Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Well, next time you're at a swanky cocktail party and you want to impress somebody, try dropping Manson's Law of Avoidance on them. The more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. That means the more something threatens to change how you view yourself, how successful or unsuccessful you believe yourself to be, how well you see yourself living up to your values, the more you will avoid ever getting around to doing it. There's a certain comfort that comes with knowing how you fit in the world. Anything that shakes up that comfort, even if it could potentially make your life better, is inherently scary. Manson's law applies to both good and bad things in life. Making $1 million could threaten your identity just as much as losing all your money. Becoming a famous rock star could threaten your identity just as much as losing your job. This is why people are often so afraid of success, for the exact same reason they're afraid of failure. It threatens who they believe themselves to be. You avoid writing that screenplay you've always dreamed of because doing so would call into question your identity as a practical insurance adjuster. You avoid talking to your husband about being more adventurous in the bedroom because that conversation would challenge your identity as a good moral woman. You avoid telling your friend that you don't want to see him anymore because ending the friendship would conflict with your identity as a nice, forgiving person. These are good, important opportunities that we consistently pass up because they threaten to change how we view and feel about ourselves. They threaten the values that we've chosen and have learned to live up to. I had a friend who, for the longest time, talked about putting his artwork online and trying to make a go of it as a professional or at least semi professional artist. He talked about it for years. He saved up money. He even built a few different websites and uploaded his portfolio. But he never launched. There was always some reason. The resolution on his work wasn't good enough, or he had just painted something better, or he wasn't in a position to dedicate enough time to it yet. Years passed and he never did give up his real job. Why? Because despite dreaming about making a living through his art, the real potential of becoming an artist nobody likes was far, far scarier than remaining an artist nobody's heard of. At least he was comfortable with and used to being an artist nobody's heard of. I had another friend who was a party guy, always going out drinking and chasing girls. After years of living the high life, he found himself terribly lonely, depressed, and unhealthy. He wanted to give up his party lifestyle. He spoke with a fierce jealousy of those of us who were in relationships and more settled down than he was. Yet he never changed. For years he went on, empty night after empty night, bottle after bottle. Always some excuse, always some reason he couldn't slow down. Giving up that lifestyle threatened his identity too much. The party guy was all he knew how to be. To give that up would be like committing psychological harakiri. We all have values for ourselves. We protect these values. We try to live up to them and we justify them and maintain them. Even if we don't mean to, that's how our brain is wired. As noted before, we are unfairly biased toward what we already know, what we believe to be certain. If I believe I'm a nice guy, I'll avoid situations that could potentially contradict that belief. If I believe I'm an awesome cook, I'll seek out opportunities to prove that to myself over and over again. The belief always takes precedence until we change how we view ourselves, what we believe we are and are not. We cannot overcome our avoidance and anxiety. We cannot change. Okay, I'll read this again. Until we change how we view ourselves, what we believe we are and are not, we cannot overcome our avoidance of anxiety. Avoidance and anxiety. We cannot change. So the key is to change how you view yourself and to allow uncertainty, become your companion, but in a healthy way, in a creative way. In this way, knowing yourself or finding yourself can be dangerous. It can cement you into a strict role and saddle you with unnecessary expectations. It can close you off to inner potential and outer opportunities. I say don't find yourself. I say never know who you are, because that's what keeps you striving and discovering, and it forces you to remain humble in your judgments and accepting of the differences in others. Okay, that's it for today. The next chapter is called Kill Yourself. Of course, it's not a call to suicide directly, but I think I've gone through this process of killing myself, and it's nice. I also killed, relationships. At some point, I killed my parents in my mind, meaning I destroyed the chains that were making our relationships worse and that were making me feel as a slave, you know. So I think this next chapter will be interesting as well. I kind of disagree with the last paragraph where he says, never know who you are. But overall, I agree with his message. There is a nice exercise I enjoy doing from time to time. It is called Ikigai. It's a Japanese term which could be translated as meaning of life, the reason for being. Why do you live? Why do you exist? Yeah, that's Ikigai. And that's a very good exercise. I do it with my clients, with people whom I coach, my students, and I do it for myself from time to time. It's not just, it's not like you did it once and that's it. You could do it once or twice a year to just explore your interests, your desires, your wishes, maybe your fears. And the process, that exercise is very interesting. First, you answer 4 questions. how you can earn money, what you're good at, and questions like that. And then you synthesize your answers and you discover your mission, you discover your profession based on your answers, your vocation, which is like a life mission, but it could be a bit more motivating, that mission. And missions can change, yeah. So, and in the end, you have your ikigai at the center. When you synthesize your answers together, it's like, okay, I could be doing this, which will give me money, which will make me feel good, which will be beneficial for others. So that's ikigai, and it's a very awesome exercise. And when you have your ikigai, you can proceed. And in case if doubts arise, in case if you want to change something, if in case if you think you have a new hobby or you forgot to write something, you can do the same exercise again, the exercise of ikigai, and adjust your ikigai. And that contextual certainty, I would call it contextual certainty, like I'm sure of this, and this. Yes, I want to do that, yeah, or this. That contextual certainty is very important, actually. It gives you, like the GPS, when you open the map and you want to get from point A to point B, you need some knowledge, some information, guidance, and certainty. You must be certain that if you follow the instructions of Google Maps or some other maps, you will get there. So that's what I'd call contextual certainty, you know. And it's very healthy, it's very important, but it needs to be science based, facts based, not faith or emotions or feelings based. All right, that's it. Doesn't matter when you watch this live, right now or months later. Please send me a like. Please leave one or two comments in the comments section and share my content on your social media if you find it valuable. Also, you can become a paid subscriber on YouTube and get access to a course I've created entitled Introduction to Practical Philosophy. And I'm going to make more exclusive content for my followers, for my paid subscribers. So thank you for being with me. High five. And see you hopefully tomorrow. Bye bye.